a second to that motion?
I will second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that a letter be drafted to determine interest in donations of dog waste stations in Heritage and Holloway Parks. Is there any further discussion?
And that is just for interest in someone to do that, that's not still.
Right. No interest, no motion forward.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is painfully carried. Thank you, Vivian, for the work that you did. Okay, moving right along. We have a couple of school-age children here, so I'm going to just drop down one item and take care of that first. We have Madeline Truesdale here with Broadwater County 4-H. We have asking permission for an animal project. So. Actually, maybe if you can stand, move right over to there. And it's not that I love being on camera, but the camera is back there.
Hello, Mayor Rouser and City Council. Thank you for letting us come talk to you today. My name is Cassandra Kirsten, and I'm a part of the Old Valley 4-H Club, and I've been in 4-H for 6 years. Hi. My name is Madeline, and I have been in the Old Valley 4-H Club for 4 years. We both joined the Dairy Goat Project this year and are hoping to learn a lot from the project. We are here to ask you for an educational variance that would allow us to keep two dairy goats in town for our 4-H project year-round. The Dairy Goat Project is where we raise goats specifically for their milk rather than their meat. Unlike meat projects, we keep the goat year-round. Unlike meat projects, we keep the goat year-round and are required to be milked twice a day for up to 11 months. The reason why we are asking to have these goats in town is it will allow us to raise a small livestock animal in 4-H and an opportunity we are able to do at this end. I understand that you might have some questions about having goats in town and goat days. How will we keep the noise down? The goats we are getting are 2 quieter goat breeds. We are getting 2 goats because having a buddy goat can keep them even quieter. When we get these goats in April, we get them and their baby, so they will stay in milk until May. How will these be safe from predators and secure? We have a place in our backyard where we will put up 2 types of fencing right next to each other and electric fencing, also to keep the predators out. This fencing will also keep the goats from getting out. For 2 adult goats, they require a pen of 4 foot by 10 foot. We have a halter in our yard. The third question is, how are you going to keep the odor down so it isn't disturbing anything or anyone? We have a local community member who we take rabbit compost out to his house, and he is allowing us to bring out goat compost weekly also. There is also animal safe barn spray, barn running, and other safe products to keep the odor away. The last question is, will this set up precedents in town to allow all livestock? We are asking for a variance for goats as an educational for dairy goats as an educational opportunity for youth participating in an educational organization. Because of the specifics, it limits future opportunities needing to meet this similar requirements. Silk want to thank you for your time. We hope you consider letting us keep our dairy goats in town. We would be happy to further answer any other questions.
Thank you, ladies. Are there any questions from council?
I do have several. Where's the address where this is gonna happen?
408 North Cherry Street.
And how long is the variance running?
Why are you looking at me?
Is this a school year? Is this in perpetuity?
We would like to have the variance for a 1-year trial and then we could come back.
JB, if I might.
Yes.
This would be the 4-H year. So
Good point.
the animals would be coming in this spring. And then they would come back essentially a year from now so that council can ask them questions, and if there have been any community issues, any people upset with having the dairy goats in their neighborhood. I might also add that before Georgia left, she was in the process of looking at the animal control ordinances and thinking about this type of a project where our ordinances would accommodate an educational type project. That, of course, is on hold until such time as we get back to animal control ordinances, hence the reason for the variance request.
Have you had a chance to speak with the neighbors?
I'll make the comment that our neighbors have dogs. And there hasn't been a
Lots of. How many students total will participate? Thank you.
Angie, how big will the goats get?
The breed I'm getting, they're small breed of goat. So the does would be, the doe, because we only have a doe, and so the lady we're getting them from, they breed them for us, and they purchase them and they bring them to our house. But the doe that I'll have will be roughly about 150 pounds. The goat I'm getting will roughly be 120 to 100. So 100.
Large dog size?
No.
Okay. Doug, did you have a question or comment? Okay. Okay. Any other questions from council? Would it enter, yes?
Can I make a clarification,
Yes.
just because I want to be completely upfront? I don't know if you guys caught this with the conversation. During approximately 2 months of the year, these goats would have kids with it. Now, kids are born 7 pounds. At 2 months, they're weaned and they're gone, because trust me, 2 goats would be enough. But I don't, if this were granted, I don't want you guys coming back and going, no, wait a minute, you didn't tell us about that, so, in complete disclosure.
Did council hear that they would be with kids? Okay. Then you did very well.
There's potentially 4 goats during that more or less 2-month period, where there are more than 1 kid.
Ideally, there would be 6. From what I understand, this is very new to us, the best outcome is you have 2 kids per doe. If there's more than 2, then we wean one, immediately turn it to a ball baby, it goes back to the breeder. She's already agreed to that. You want to, because they will pick one side or the other, and so they milk equally, that which helps produce a better goat for show. Part of this request that will be more demanded is that if they have 1 kid, that other side will need to be milked out as much as the other side for them to be quality goats for show.
But I don't think your council is being asked to help milk, so just make that clear. Other questions or comments from council? Would entertain a motion to allow the variance for the one-year trial for the dairy goat 4-H project.
I will move to make a motion to allow the variance for the 1 year for the 4-H dairy goat project.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to authorize variance in our animal control ordinances for the purposes of dairy goat 4-H project for a 1-year trial. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Congratulations, girls, well done.
Good year, around there.
Yes.
May I ask if these girls can get excused? Mackenzie wasn't up at 4 o'clock this morning to meet with legislators, so she is rather
Absolutely.
spent. So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Our
Thank
public
you.
works director was just getting finished with a water call at 4.
That's my understanding, because his daughter was with me as well.
All right.
Thank you for your time and
You're
your
welcome.
consideration.
Okay, Lauren McLaughlin, Big Sky, Big Leadership.
Hi,
There she is.
I am Lauren McLaughlin, and our entire group is here, Liz Richmond, Gord Pearson, and Alex Potter. And we would like to discuss the possible project, which we have learned has been discussed here previously, of resurfacing the tennis courts for our Big Sky, Big Leadership project. There has been a lot of research and quotes that have already gone into this, and so I know Gord had a couple clarifying questions as far as who owns the tennis courts, first and foremost, and then possible funding to get this underway, and what our portion of it would be through Big Sky, Big Leadership, and then even possibly extending, because Big Sky, Big Leadership is over in May, and I don't think it's all gonna be done by then, so extending this project into other fundraising opportunities, through the community, through the school, to get this done. So, do you have anything else to add?
Sure. So I'm Liz Wishman, and that was kind of my. So we did get a couple of quotes, actually 3. One of them came from a man in Shoto, and it was $235,000 to redo it, but we have to do the work to get it cleaned up. So take off the surfaces, the ground. Another one was from Bozeman, Cook, and he is $410,000. And then John Hahn actually found another option that they clean up the cracks and then just fill the cracks for approximately under $10,000. But that's not as long a fix as the cement options that were more expensive. I see in your literature that Eric has an option for $1 million in there somewhere. We haven't run across that one yet. So it's relatively big, but the people we've run into, they've been very receptive.
There's a lot of interest, it sounds like.
Stacy Summer is willing to help us with the grants. We see that there's a AARP grant here as well, and several people have told us about that already. We're working with Renee Bauer fairly closely. I think she would be a great asset. If it's meant to be, it sounds like we have a lot of positive feedback and backing, yes.
Questions from council?
I have some information, so it's funny you bring that up, because Bill Kearns, Jeff and I talked with him, he actually called me back yesterday. He talked to someone, the US Tennis Association has grants available, and there's a guy, I'm waiting to get contact information on who to get a hold of for additional monies that may be out there. I don't know what grants that you currently have, but
We don't have any as of
follow
now.
up with any contact info that I can get for you. I don't know, Bill got involved in this somehow. I think he knows someone down at the Springs that's a big tennis player, or was at one time, and knows somebody that knows somebody how to get hold of additional grant money, which I think would be great. I think the whole idea of redoing that's awesome, because they need it. Tennis is a big thing, and pickleball, and I know Stacy and Adam Six and them were involved in the pickleball tennis court revamping and redoing of that whole thing, so, yeah. So I'll chase down some more info and get that to Jeff at some point. But Bill called me back yesterday on that.
Just to be clear, Doug cannot unilaterally say, yes, you can do this.
No, I just think the idea is fantastic. It's and I'm just making it happen.
I know.
Let's go.
I'm not going to allow a coup tonight.
Let's get those.
Eric, that $1 million estimate that we received, that was to redo the tennis courts and basketball courts, everything, right?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
And the other thing that also included was a 4-foot dig out, so that the ground underneath would be good going forward as well. And that also, that $1 million price also was the new fence as well. Because of course, if you tear everything up, you gotta get a new fence too, so, yeah. And that was also, the reason that quote was so high is it was also the high tensile concrete option as well, so, yeah.
Yes.
Do I recall from a discussion last year that Timmy said that he was against the idea of simply resurfacing because the damage was extensive enough that the resurfacing wouldn't last any significant time?
Correct, it's a waste of money
Right.
because of of the soil underneath. Fill the cracks and it's just gonna crack.
So it's worth noting that lower bid you got, I sell paint that would be as good, that would last about as long a week.
Other comments? Yes.
It's Gordon Pierce. So just to be clear, the city does own that piece of ground?
Yes.
Okay.
Reasonably certain of that tonight.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. And I guess who is responsible for the maintenance of that currently? Is that the school, or is it the city itself? If there's, somebody cuts a hole in the fence or whatever?
It's the city.
It is the city, okay. Does the city have any parts or equipment as carryover left over the last time it was created that we could pull as part of this?
Defer that to Eric.
What was the question?
If you have any parts or equipment, should a maintenance project be required in the immediate future? Do you have any?
Once the tennis courts are redone,
Uh-huh,
they'll have to be maintained.
okay.
Yeah. Do you have any, any extra equipment right now to maintain in that basis or not?
I would have to look, I hate to give a political answer, but I'd have to look and see what it was required,
Okay.
you know? I mean, cause, yeah, I got a nice back lot here, I can tear it up real good.
Okay.
I mean,
Alright, yeah, I guess the concern that I have is, these courts have deteriorated a lot in the last little while, and they're actually a potential hazard, for use this spring. And I'm wondering if we have no choice than a stopgap measure at this point for the girls this spring. I don't know, that's something that we all have to look at, but, because this project obviously is going to take a lot longer than that. So, I guess that's my questions or concerns.
Other comments or questions? Mr. Hahn?
I got involved with this group, I wasn't in their main group here, but I did some research on there, and I have a neighbor, Jesse Garza, that worked with an asphalt company, and he's just retired this year, and he has equipment to go around and seal and repair cracks and such. So I was asking him, he also knew a fellow that he hasn't been able to get a hold of that redoes remakes tennis courts and stuff, but he uses asphalt. But he's down in Arizona, he hadn't been able to get a hold of it. But my suggestion was to fill the cracks, which he felt he could do in order to get through the tennis season this year, which is in spring, and then, possibly tear them up or whatever when you have time, when it's warmer weather. But he originally suggested $3,500 to $4,000 to do that. And I told him to maybe a bit high because I didn't know what the paint costs and things like that too. I did look up some tennis court paint, and it runs anywhere from $90 per 5 gallons to $525 for 5 gallons. So, and Jeff felt that maybe we could do a DIY situation if, after they got repaired or cracks filled, and maybe go around and paint the lines and stuff, or repaint some of the cracks areas and stuff, just to get by. But that was just a suggestion, I thought, maybe. And he said that he did the same thing over at Red Lodge. It's been holding up for a year or two, so you might be able to get by longer, but that was just a suggestion.
Can you remember why Timmy was worried about it? Was he worried because the ground was shifting under the tennis courts and it was gonna tear over the
Because
edges?
the soil underneath it is clay and it freezes and
Right.
the upheaval, and that's what causes the cracks, and I don't think that's going to stop.
But the tracks, are level right now. Sometimes when you get clay, you get movement like this. So basically, if you build them up, I don't know, I have never been out on them, but at a later time, but I know if you maybe fill the cracks just to get by. And
I have the feeling that that's how the tennis courts were built in the first place, was to get by. Jeff?
So does any of you play pickleball or tennis at the courts? Have you been on the courts? Okay. Of course, I only play on the one closest to the road because that's where we do the pickleball lines. But I don't see any of this. I see this, I don't see much of this. So my gut tells me, yeah, there's a big project here and they need to dig 4 foot deep and put gravels to do whatever. But for $5,000 or so, if we can get through a season or even 2 seasons, I mean, some of those cracks are, you could twist your ankle in there pretty good. It just seems like a logical thing to do. That's my 2 cents.
When is the tennis season? Is there an actual schedule for high school? It starts in April.
Yeah, I think it starts in April.
We saw the pictures last year, I think we had those cracks are significant. I can see what's going on. Yeah, that makes sense. I think knowing that the big project coming behind it's gonna be big spendy, that's where you go find grant money and all this other different avenues of money to make that happen, if it's out there.
So the request before council is to grant permission for this group from Big Sky Big Leadership, right? It's too big, right? It's too big. Big Sky Big Leadership to look into providing some much needed maintenance, looking to the future replacement of the tennis courts. What is the council's pleasure?
I would like to see, you know, even if it's just a little Band-Aid fix that's only $5,000. I'd rather see the risk of somebody getting injured and they're reduced or close it, because I don't wanna see anybody, as much as I don't wanna close it, I don't wanna see anybody get injured over there either. And I know that there's not necessarily a liability risk.
Is that in the form of a motion, Councilwoman?
No, you didn't say I want a motion, you said what's our pleasure?
You had a presentation, there have been
I
questions and
move
comments.
we allow Big Sky, Big Leadership to, look into fixing the tennis courts and getting some maintenance done over there.
Is there a second?
I'd second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to grant permission to Big Sky Big Leadership Group to look into the maintenance and future replacement of the tennis courts. Is there any more discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Is that meeting your expectations? Because really all that's on the table right now is that you're being granted permission to proceed with research and not any actual action.
Yes.
Where do we go from there? We've already done some very preliminary research. At what point do we pick a path and run with it?
Pursuit of this would include funding.
And if I may suggest, Mayor, I think, I don't wanna say no to anything, honestly, patch will work great, but I think we need to contact MMIA, maybe send them some pictures of this thing, and ask them for a comment, council as to what I think our exposure would be if all we do is patch this year. Because a lot of that original argument with the discussion came down to the question of just how big is the liability exposure for the city, and he thought it was enormous. But I don't remember if he felt that way with the patch, or if he just simply concluded, yes, we can patch it, but a year from now, you'll be having the same discussion. So if they're proceeding with research, have you asked MMIA for their opinion about what that minimum patch job might expose the city to? It's the false sense of security that, it's the way Timmy said it a year ago that has me most nervous. 18 months ago, wasn't it?
It was. Did you say proceed or pursue? I don't even remember what the motion is.
So, they can, I mean, we don't really have, all we have right now is their interest, and we really need, the amount of money, the funding, what is gonna be done to the courts, like, cause you have the patch fix, and then you have the other fixes. And, obviously the others are a lot more involved, but it would be good to know too, what kind of materials and specifically what they're gonna do with patching it, if that's what, you know, you're gonna do. And then when the project is going to start and be finished, and those kinds of things.
If I may, Mayor, John, how soon could this guy do that in the spring?
He could do it before the tennis.
That'd be the first thing I would do on your guys' side is how much and when, and then we can talk about funding.
But are you just looking for permission to fix the courts?
So we would like permission to proceed fixing. I think as far as the research and the quotes that we've gotten, some people can't come out until the snow melts to actually look at it. And so at this point, because there has been so much interest to move forward, having that permission from you to say, okay, move forward, start getting your funding, start having start and deadlines for the project, and then go from there. I think right now, because we have the quotes and we started the research, I mean, there's always room for more research, and that's fine. But I think at this point, we're ready to move forward. If we can do this project, or specifically for this class, do we need to switch gears? Is this not realistic at all? And maybe this is just a project that we do on our own time outside of Big Sky Leadership. So a big part of this is like, can we move forward and present this as a project to our class and continue on with it for as long as it takes? Or do we need to find something different for the project specifically?
So the ask is permission to move forward
Yes.
with some kind of repair and or replacement.
Of the,
of the tennis courts.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. I suggest you withdraw your motion and we'll start.
I'll
over.
withdraw it.
Thank you for letting us clarify.
You bet, you bet.
May I make a recommendation, Mayor?
Yes.
Rather than pursuing a motion tonight, would you be willing to come back at the next council meeting? Bring us your plan that includes the schedule of events. When are things going to happen, so that we've got something to put before the population, before the residents. They know what's going on. In the meantime, that gives the mayor a chance to call MMIA and make sure that our liability insurance is going to be happy with this minimal patch for the year, with the expectation that, I think I speak for everybody, we want this to happen. It's just a question of making sure all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted.
You guys good with that?
Point of clarification, let's see,
Oh, MMIA, I forget what the acronym stands for.
The, Montana Municipal Insurance Association.
Okay, thank you.
It is associated with the Montana League of Cities and Towns. And basically, municipalities have banded together into this association to provide insurance.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
are you guys? Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate your willingness to help us help you.
We appreciate your help.
What's that on Jeremy
Right. Well, it is. Thank you. Okay, council has the AARP Community Challenge Grant information in an email, the email that we received, or at least part of it anyway. The challenge grants, grant applications are due March 5th, which gives us a very short window of time to look at what we might